That was only the beginning of the story. Over the years, I've been fortunate in that I have been lucky in finding smart people in the most unlikely places. I'm speaking at a conference at the Bay Area a number of years ago, and a little dude shows up by the name of Norman Bergrun. Norman retired from NASA after almost 30 years. He was an engineer and a photographic expert, and he was responsible, he and a number of others were responsible in putting together what they called the Voyager program. Because in the late 70s, astronomers and guys in NASA had discovered some anomalous things happening in the rings of Saturn. I love that word, anomalous. Things were happening, they didn't know what the hell they were. They didn't know how to explain it. So what they did, they put together a multi-million-dollar program called Voyager. And they sent Voyager to the rings of Saturn in 1980. And when Voyager 1 got in the rings of Saturn, it began taking pictures, and the pictures were sent back to NASA, and they were astounded, literally astounded. They got stuff they didn't expect. So anyhow, Norman, after frustration and time passed, 1986, Norman decided to blow the whistle and publish the photographs that Voyager 1 took in the rings of Saturn. He couldn't get his book published in the United States. I wonder why. U.S. publishers wouldn't touch him, wouldn't even talk to him. The little dude had to go to Scotland, Aberdeen, Scotland, to get his book published. And that's the cover of his book. And it may be available, you maybe can find a copy if you try, here, there, or wherever. I hate to tell you what they might cost now, because they're real collector's items. Now on the cover, this you see here on the right is part of the B ring of Saturn. You know, there are A, B, C, there's a whole bunch of rings. Gigantic. Saturn's a giant planet, and these rings are incredible. This thing here, self-luminous, obviously artificial construction, obviously under intelligent control, because it moves around in the rings of Saturn, and they don't know what the hell it is, but it's larger than our moon. An intelligent, constructed, artificial object, larger than our moon, moving around throughout the rings of Saturn, wherever it will go, and we get a picture of it and we don't know what to say. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to respond. Bigger than our moon. That's only part of the story. Here we go. This is in the A ring. And the statistics on this will blow your mind. This object here is an artificially constructed, as Norman says, NASA called it an electromagnetic vehicle. That dude is 2,000 miles long. Over 450 miles in diameter, but 2,000 miles long. And here's another self-luminous artificial object about the size of our moon that apparently moves here, there, and everywhere, wherever it'll go, obviously under intelligent control. But consider this thing. Consider the civilization, the technology, the culture that can not only build something like that, but put it in space, move it here and there wherever they will, for whatever purpose. Norman says he thought they were making the rings, which is why he titled his book, The Ring Makers. I said, Norman, do you ever stop to think they might be mining the rings? We've concluded from several missions, the Voyager 1 was only the first of a whole bunch of them, that the rings are made up of minerals from perhaps God knows how many eons back when the planets were being formed. And I said, stop to think about an advanced technology. They could mine those rings, and those minerals are gold mined, you know. Talk about nutrients. You've got all that good stuff. And he says, you know, I didn't think about that they might be mining them. Now, I want to ask, show of hands, how many of you are overwhelmed and shocked at these facts about those objects out there? Well, a few. Overwhelmed and shocked. Well, that's good. That's good. Well, I was overwhelmed and shocked the first time I saw it, and the first time I began to put it together and considered what it meant. Because there's what we're getting to the important thing here. What does this mean? Now, I assume most of you are aware and familiar with a brilliant educator, physicist in New York by the name of Michio Kaku. Brilliant young man, a quantum physicist, theoretical physicist. Michio has come up with what he considers to be a possibility of 4 different kinds of advanced civilizations. Type 1, 2, 3, and 4. You, by the way, are members of a 0-0 type civilization. Not that you didn't know that, but you haven't quite reached type 1 yet. And the conclusion many of us have reached is that we're looking at the results of at least a type 2 civilization.